plus points of having this relationship with Gartner is the access you will have to so many analysts, like well over 2,000, maybe 2,500 plus analysts, experts in their field, which is a huge benefit of your contract. But it's also one of the big key challenges, let's say, of that relationship also is, out of those 2,500, which ones are going to be of particular interest to me. So it's the paradigm of choice. So if that sounds familiar, stick around. So what we'll do on the video, we'll focus on 3 specific areas to sort of simplify this challenge. First of all, we'll prioritize based on our strategic goals. Then we'll do a round of inquiries. These are 30-minute engagements that we will have focused on those specific analysts. And finally, what we'll do is we will create a simplified database to know which analysts make most sense for my organization moving forward. So begin by prioritizing the analysts that you want to influence, or the analysts that let's say you want to leverage their know-how to achieve certain goals internally. So where are we going to focus? You need to review the whys you are with Gartner. So what are your strategic goals for having this contract with Gartner? Most definitely there's going to be an element here of getting published in certain research. Maybe a Magic Quadrant, maybe a market guide, maybe a cool vendor publication. Okay, so that could be one way of prioritizing where you should focus, which will help you in addition to identify the analysts. Okay, so that is definitely one route of prioritization. And as you are prioritizing, ensure that you focus exclusively on one publication to begin with. So identify where you want to get published, and that will lead you to who are the analysts that are going to be working on the next publication, or let's say the next version of that publication. However, if the date of that publication is, like, let's say, far into the future, so maybe it's 8 months into the future, maybe it's a year into the future, maybe it's not a good use of your time and your effort focusing on something that's so far ahead. If you're just starting out with Gartner, you really want to show value within your organization. And if that is the case, if the publication that you're looking to influence is very far into the future, I would try to identify another strategic goal that your organization is trying to achieve and use Gartner for that purpose. Okay, so that could be, maybe you're working on a merger or acquisition, and maybe you're working on, let's say, cloud adaptation or cloud infrastructure transformation, or maybe you're raising money within the next 6 months. So understanding what is your specific priority, and based on that, so that could be publication. If it's publication, when is it going to be published? Who is going to be doing that research? If it's another strategic goal within your organization, who are the analysts that can help you there? So that's going to set a sort of a smaller scope of analysts that you can address. So first of all, prioritize the analysts based on your strategic goals. Once you have prioritized, let's say, your short lists of analysts that you want to engage with, then what you should do is you go about setting up a round of inquiries with those analysts. Okay, so an inquiry is a 30-minute engagement. We have a video on that, and that will address like how you should schedule it, how you should prepare, and how you should execute it. You establish the context for that engagement. Now you can do this online using Gartner's portal, or you can request this via your account manager. Personally, I would recommend that you do that through your account manager, because it gives them a lot of visibility into what you are trying to achieve and how you articulate things. So it helps them sort of understand you better if you channel everything through your account manager. That's just a preference of mine, and that's how I would go about doing it. So in that context, what I would do, I would establish a template where I would, articulate and respond to the following questions. Who you want to engage with. So here we would name the analyst that we had previously identified in the publications. Personally, what I generally do here is I try to identify who would be, let's say, the lead analyst, the most senior analyst within a specific category. And generally I would leave that lead analyst until the end of my round of inquiries. I would try to take in language, I would try to take in points of views of the other analysts to get a sort of a deeper understanding of how Gartner is looking at things. And then when I reach, let's say, the lead analyst, I will be a little bit smarter, a little bit clever for those other inquiries, and hopefully that will position me better with the lead analyst. What we want to address on the inquiry. Initially, I would keep this as broad as possible. Get sort of insights into what is happening within that space, trends that the analyst has identified, where they see that space moving forward. And finally, articulate why. So here we want to give the analyst some context on who we are as a company and what we are trying to achieve. And when you go about doing your inquiries, what you should do is establish a database for your relationships with analysts. Keep it very simple at the start. It's something that can become a lot more sophisticated over time. But who is the analyst? What areas are they working on? What documentation are they influencing or are they researching on? How many interactions have you had with them? Where are they based? What are their interests? Okay, so it's like a CRM over time. But initially, what we want to do here is just establish the basics, who they are, when did we have an engagement. And the outcome here is we want to identify which analysts are friendly, that we think are going to be helpful for us in achieving our goals, which are unfriendly or potential detractors for us in establishing our goals, and then the ones in the middle that are they're neither positive nor are they negative. In our database, we're going to put them down as friendly. If this is intuitive as well, we just have a feeling that this was a really positive engagement, first engagement, remember, with this analyst. So first impressions are what they are, but did we sort of get validation for what we were talking about, what we were trying to position, let's say our worldview from our organization or from our product, the challenges that we see in the marketplace? Are we getting a lot of validation there? Do we feel that they get us? Do we feel that we get them, the analyst? So if that is the case, it's green. It's a friendly analyst. So mark that down in your database. It could also be a sort of a detractor or a foe. I won't say enemy. It's a bit strong. Again, first impressions, this can change over time. But initially, what do we feel? What do we walk away from that session? Do we find that the analyst, is a little bit more confrontational, knocks some of our ideas, does not have a shared view of where things are moving forward? Now, that does not mean that we do not have to go back and really question potential hypotheses. But initially, it just shows that, listen, there's, we're not aligned, okay? And that non-alignment could lead to, issues in achieving our objectives. This could also be that, we feel potential favoritism towards another vendor, could be a competitor, etc. Okay, so if we do have that sense of, this is not going in the direction that I had hoped, put it down as, a foe or a detractor. And something that is neither positive, nor negative. It could be just a simple exchange of information in those first 30 minutes, which is quite common also. Then we would put them down as neutral. So establish your database, very simple at the start, and the outcome here is for you to have clearly identified initially who are friendly analysts that are friendly to your organization, and analysts who could possibly be detractors for your organization also. In summary, at Gartner, you are definitely going to have this paradigm of choice. There's so many analysts there, so where do you begin? So what we've talked about today is prioritizing the analysts based on our main objectives, our main strategic objectives. This could be a publication. If that publication is too far down the line, try to identify another strategic project within your organization, and based on those objectives, identify a subset of analysts. That could be between, let's say, 3 to 5 analysts, maybe 6 possibly. Based on that subset, do a round of inquiries. These are 30-minute engagements. Establish the context for those engagements, and then run those 30-minute engagements. Based on how they go, put that output or that outcome into a very simple database where, who do I have the engagement with, based on what topic, what are they working on, and then what we're looking to identify are analysts that are friendly to our organization, have a shared worldview. We think they're going to be favorable for us in our objectives, let's say of getting published, at least, of influencing towards that. Also, which analysts could possibly be detractors, have them identified. Also, they do not share our worldview. Maybe they're interested in other vendors. Whatever the reason, we just have this feeling that that's going to take a little bit more work. And who are in the middle. That's going to change over time, but this is going to help us resolve that paradigm of choice.